Welcome everyone. Welcome to um, my channel. This is Dance Coach Rudy V. And today's topic is Dance Chat number 4. It's the Los Angeles Bachata scene. Yes, if you guys don't know what bachata is, it's a popular genre of music. It originates from the Dominican Republic, right? And it's become famous, throughout the years, popular. Um, you know, it's you hear it a lot in the clubs, and especially if you go to the a lot of the Latin type clubs, and out here in Los Angeles, there's a big scene out here, and it's the bachata scene out here. And I'll be going into some of my experiences in history with the bachata scene out here and bachata dance. And so definitely, join me. And if you just came on my YouTube chat or my Instagram, hello, welcome. And if you're on my YouTube, check out my details below. You can actually reach me at my Instagram, add me there, send me a message. It's Dance Coach Rudy. And all the links are there at the bottom of my of this video, and you could go to my website too. I have actually my schedule there of dance classes. The website talks about different styles of dances that I teach. I am a dance instructor. I teach group dance classes. How's it going? Welcome to my Instagram as well. Some of you out there, nice seeing you as well. So definitely, I teach dance. I have dance classes, group dance lessons, and private lessons as well. And definitely um, message me. Go to my Instagram account, and you'll see my schedule there. I teach dance classes in the San Fernando Valley, and I teach many styles of dances: salsa, bachata, cumbia, cha-cha-cha, merengue, swing, rockabilly, jive, popping, and house dancing. A lot of dances. I've enjoyed dancing since I was young and continue to dance. It's a cool extracurricular activity. It's good for exercise, health, and wellness. It's just fun. It's an art. It's a skill as well. It's an art. But definitely. So let's get actually to the topic, the Los Angeles bachata scene. And so how did I get interested in bachata? Wow. So like I say, a lot of times I was introduced to bachata. It was actually through the salsa scene. And so um, when I first started doing bachata, it wasn't mainstream, like popular out here. If you actually went to a lot of the salsa clubs out here, nobody was dancing bachata, you know. And there was like sometimes they would play bachata music and nobody would really dance to because they didn't know how. And all the salseros would actually sit down whenever a DJ would play some bachata music. And there was times where I learned bachata like I learned urban style bachata back then. Dominican style wasn't really nobody was really teaching it out here in Los Angeles at that time. Central style didn't even exist, right? It was just basically urban style back then, and I came across it um, with two instructors out here. One was Alejandro Sol. He was the first one, and when he taught bachata, it was the urban style, and I actually, he's a good friend of mine, you know, and he told me that what he does with bachata is like he puts a lot of salsa patterns in there. So that was bachata back then. It was like you had the basic, right, the side to side basic, and people would do, I mean, Alejandro So would put salsa patterns in there, but he had a few like moves at that time, and I kind of like, I remember what he said. I was like, wait a minute, I was already no, I already knew a lot of salsa at that time, and I started adding stuff, a lot of salsa patterns to the bachata basic, and I came out with my own unique style or urban style, right? So I started coming out putting all these different salsa patterns in the bachata dance. So when you saw me dancing out there to bachata, I was doing my own moves, and I did some of the Alejandro Soul bachata moves, but I added some more stuff to it. A lot of different patterns. I was just getting creative, and I also came across Oscar Ramirez, who was also teaching bachata, and he had his moves too. I learned from that, soaked it up, and but I still I was like, okay, I was learning, soaking it up, putting new stuff in there as well, combining different moves, just doing different moves and patterns, and so I started, learning this bachata, and then when I was out there dancing salsa, and some DJ would put some bachata music, and all the salseros would sit down, right? No, but I actually I would ask women, hey, or sometimes they knew that I knew bachata, and they would come up to me and ask me to dance, and some of them didn't know how to dance bachata, and they would come up to me and ask me, oh, how do you dance that? How do you dance that? And back then, if you knew bachata, like, you stuck out there, like you were like the only very few of us actually danced bachata back then. And this was before it became popular and mainstream, the dance, out here in Los Angeles. Now, it existed, bachata existed in the East Coast, in the Dominican Republic already, um, but the urban style, I would say a lot of it came from Los Angeles. A lot of it came from Los Angeles, and we were innovating, creating a lot of the urban style out here, you know, and we were putting a lot of LA style salsa patterns into the bachata basic, and so yeah, I remember one at times, salseros. They were salsero purists. They said, "Oh no, I don't like bachata. I'm not gonna dance that." And it's funny because I remember I was at a club called Olivia's out here in the San Fernando Valley in Burbank, and nobody knew how to dance bachata. And then the DJ would play a bachata song, and I remember a guy I know who's popular out here. I'm not gonna say his name, but he's actually a salsa instructor as well, and and promoter. And at that time, I asked, "Hey man, you should dance bachata, man." And he goes, "Oh no, no, I'm just salsa, strictly salsa." It's like, oh, okay. So there's this kind of this resistance, like, hey, I'm a true salsero and I don't dance bachata, right? And to this very day, some people are still like that, right? But the scene has grown so big that now it's like people are kind of like can't be really purists anymore. So it's like, okay, a lot of salseros became bachateros, right? And so they started taking up bachata, you know. But it was funny in the early days, like there was people that didn't like it, they didn't want to learn. They were strictly salsa only. And I remember at Olivia's, you know, people knew that I knew bachata. I knew how to dance bachata, and the instructor at that time didn't even know bachata. Um, Actually, it was during it was Sergio and Salud at Olivia's. They were, you know, they were mostly they were teaching just purely like salsa at that time. I don't think Sergio knew bachata at that time either, and they would trip out on me, Sergio and Salud, when I would dance on bachata because there it was something like they never they it was something new, and some of his students would come up to me and ask me to dance bachata with them. All the ladies, you know, would come up to me and teach me. I want to learn and everything. So I would just do very basic stuff with them, you know, very basic stuff, and eventually, like later on, like it got popular and it just exploded out here, like the whole bachata scene, you know. Next thing you know, you start seeing people dancing it, you know, at Olivia's in Burbank. I remember in being at Mama Juana's too. Like there was another salsa club out here in the San Fernando Valley, and you know the DJ would play bachata, and everyone was dancing salsa, right? And then he'll switch to bachata, and everyone will sit down on the table, and they will all sit down. I'm like, hey, what's going on here? Why is people not dancing? So it's like early on, it's like knowing bachata is like, you know, it's like it was you stuck out, right? You stuck out from the crowd, you know. But yeah, I just, you know, and even at Mama Juana's, I remember, you know, they played a bachata song, and I was showing this girl how to dance bachata, and Alex da Silva and Alian Ramirez came up to me after the dance, and they asked me, oh, how do you dance that? How do you dance bachata? And so uh, Alian, you know, I showed her how to do it, and I basically explained to Alex da Silva, hey, this is what you do. You do this basic, and you put some salsa patterns in there, you know. And I actually introduced them to bachata because they didn't know how to dance bachata at that time, you know. And after it's like, you know, Alian eventually started dancing more bachata later on and became famous and became a champion, right? But I could actually say that I introduced her to dancing bachata out here, you know. And you know, it's like it's a lot of history out here, you know, in this scene. But um, you know, I'm glad to say that, hey, I introduced her to that bachata dance, you know, and um, because she didn't know how at that time. I was showing her how to dance bachata. But anyways, so yeah, I just remember dancing this, and early on, nobody, it was hardly anybody dancing it. Just very few people actually knew how to dance bachata, and so yeah, it eventually exploded. It started getting popular. At first, it was all nothing but salsa out here, you know, in these clubs, and then eventually everyone was doing bachata, you know, and there it was mostly urban style, right? And then came kind of like the people, you know, a lot of bachata dancers, not a lot, but few, very few. My bad. Let me take that back. Very few started discovering. what they call traditional bachata, right? The Dominican style, right? That's what they called it. Now it's called traditional bachata, right? Or you know, but we kind of call it, oh, it's Dominican style, right? Back then. And I was introduced, just even going on YouTube, you saw like Troy and Georgette. They made it real popular, right? Their style, Dominican style. And they would explain to people that this is, Dominican style is like, this is the real bachata, basically, and he did have comments about the urban style bachata in some of his videos, but he emphasized more the Dominican style, and he had his particular footwork, Troy and Georgette, and at that time, the few that were in the bachata scene, they actually listened to him and they were like, okay, we need to learn the original styles of bachata, learn this Dominican style. So some of us were basically trying to dance and learn more about the traditional Dominican styles out here. And me, I actually purchased some of Troy and Georgette's DVDs, and on footwork and the whole Dominican style and everything. And I actually bumped into a group out here in Los Angeles, and I think they were actually the first group out here to actually um, be like a Dominican style bachata group, and it was called Raw Bachata back then, and they were actually all into that, the Dominican style at that time. And I would take classes and workshops with them. They had a studio, I think it was out there with, was it towards, it was like the west side, like, was it around West Hollywood or somewhere out there, going towards, I think it was going towards Santa Monica or something like that. But they would have workshops, they would teach Dominican style. You even see me in a video on YouTube. I'm over there participating in the workshop and everything. But yeah, they were teaching Dominican style, and so I absorbed a lot of that. And a lot of times when people were teaching the Dominican style here in Los Angeles, they were doing mostly like the Troy and Georgette style, right? If you guys don't know Dominican style, there's so many different styles out there, right? And but a lot of people were basically trying to do the Troy and Georgette style, right? And they were doing a lot of the triple steps and everything. um, I discovered that a lot of the triple steps comes from the cha cha cha, and you see a lot of moves in the cha 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 dance um, that was incorporated in the Dominican style. So interesting dance history there, Matter of fact, the bachata has been influenced by prior dances too. They even say by the merengue too, as well as the bolero. but I actually stress and emphasize that, you know, for you out Los Angeles people who are into the bachata dance, learn the traditional styles, because this, you got to preserve and respect the culture, and one of the criticisms from the East Coast or from the Dominican Republic, the Dominican style dancers, is that, oh, we see you guys dancing this urban style, and that's not bachata. That's what they're saying, that's not real bachata, right? And I understand them, on why they say that. And if you actually think about it, it's when we were innovating and creating this urban style bachata out here and I was part of that early on out here in Los Angeles, especially out here in the San Fernando Valley. Um, we were putting salsa moves in there. So one of the criticisms, oh, that's not bachata. That looks like salsa right there. So that is true right there. That is true. And that's why some people coin it as salchata, you know, and some people just think of it as bachata. And those times where out here in Los Angeles, I tried, dancing Dominican style out here in the clubs, and nobody knows it, to this very day. Hardly, very few actually know it. Um, and, now people are doing more box steps, which is good. The box step is, traditional Dominican style. We kind of see the diagonal step too now. A lot of Dominican style dancers do the diagonal. So we're seeing that in now in the Los Angeles bachata scene. They are incorporating some Dominican style, but they're mixing it with the urban style, so as well as with the sensual style. But my thing is this: is that I think it's important for bachata dancers to learn the traditional style out of respect, out of honoring, the roots of bachata dance and the music and the culture. And what's weird is that whenever I try doing Dominican style, a lot of women don't know the Dominican style, and those early on those times where people were criticizing me, and I was doing like a cross step. Like there's this famous guy, his name is Rodolfo Montaño from the Dominican Republic, and he's considered like the national like legend of Dominican style traditional bachata, and he's won competitions and everything. He's like a legend, right? And he has a different style than Troy and Georgette, and he does a lot of the cross steps and traveling box steps. And it's like influenced by the bolero, And I was actually somebody, I made a video on me teaching that cross step right there, and some lady made a comment and told me, "Oh, that's not bachata. That's not bachata." And I'm like, I go, "What do you mean? It's traditional style. That's the real deal right there, And because she thinks bachata is the urban style, the type that looks kind of like salsa, where you just go side to side and you do your salsa patterns, right? Now, this is the issue though. Out here in Los Angeles, a lot of people don't know the original traditional styles out here. Um, it's changing though. But out here, you get comments like that sometimes. Oh, what are you doing? That's not bachata, right? No, it is. It's real bachata. It's traditional style. And yeah, sometimes even when I try to do some of these steps, like you know, sometimes people are saying, "Oh, that's not bachata. That's you know." So one even accused me of, "Oh, that's kizomba," and it's not kizomba. It's the Dominican style right there. You may see some cross steps involved in there. Um, you find it also like in a tango at times. But the Dominican style that Rodolfo Montaño does is it's a unique style, and I've actually learned it. I went to New York and under a popular DJ who's under what are they called? There's this group out there that just does Dominican style only. It's Al. It's been a while. um, but there's this popular group that just they stress real bachata, traditional style bachata. out there in the East Coast, and they one of them, the DJ, he's popular in the bachata scene. I went there to New York, and I didn't know this, but he was like a student under Rodolfo Montano, and he, I asked, hey, oh, I was talking to him, and I go, oh, do you know that Dominican style and this and that? He goes, yeah, and so he basically did a private like class with me, and was he showed me all the moves right there, like breaking it down and everything. And I learned it. I learned it. I picked up on it fast because I pick up on dances quick. I learned so many different styles out here, so I picked it up quick. I even video recorded, right? I have it still, but yeah, he definitely showed me some of the steps, and even me, like I study a lot of different people out here, especially on the YouTube, and I could pick up on dances quick, and their steps, just break it down and everything. So I definitely done my research with Rodolfo Montano, and I actually have direct experience from one of his students in teaching that style. So I teach that style in my bachata classes, right? And out here in Los Angeles, there's only very few instructors that teach the Dominican style. Most of them are teaching the urban style or the central style, right? But very few are actually teaching the Dominican style. And when they do teach Dominican style, it's mostly like that Troy and Georgette type footwork, But nobody else that I've seen is teaching like the Rodolfo Montano style. And I'm actually the only one that's teaching it out here because I haven't came across any other bachata instructors teaching that style. And I teach that style, and even when you go to like Steven's Steakhouse, there's a guy named Demetrio, a bachata instructor, and you look at his style, and it kind of looks kind of like the Troy and Georgette style, and you don't see really the Rodolfo Montano type style going on where he's Rodolfo Montano is doing a lot of like cross steps and boxes, and he's traveling around. It looks smooth, right? And he's not just sitting in place and doing footwork all day. You see a lot of that with Troy and Georgette style. They're usually they'll do some footwork, and then they'll switch sides and do some footwork and switch sides, right? Well, Rodolfo Montano is just traveling and doing boxes, and sometimes he'll do some footwork or some other rhythms, and he'll go back to that rhythm, that smooth rhythm. So I'm actually a big fan of that style right there, and I do definitely teach that in my bachata dance classes. Um, but it's innovating, changing. I mean, I remember I also came across like um, some Dominican style instructors out here in Los Angeles when they're teaching at El Floriditas, and I think her name was Vanessa, and it's actually a guy I know, a friend of mine, DJ Kenny. Um, I think it's his girlfriend or something like that. Um, and she started learning the Dominican style too, and she's actually been teaching Dominican style, traditional style. And big ups to DJ Kenny, because you know he's actually, I think he started the first traditional bachata festival out here in Los Angeles. So that's cool that he's doing that. I mean he's promoting that, the traditional Dominican styles, and he has that festival. It just recently started out here in Los Angeles, so that's good. Maybe people will start dancing more of the traditional styles out here, and but those you know traditional style bachata festivals, he has, a lot of Dominican style dancers performing and doing workshops and teaching and all that. So if you guys ever get a chance, go check out some of those festivals, traditional Los Angeles traditional bachata festivals. Just look them up, DJ Kenny. Um, you know, actually, DJ Kenny has been cool. Like he's actually used to put me on his guest list for the Granada and everything. So, but yeah, it's just that's a good thing that he's promoting that, and I'm starting to see more people now doing they're doing the Troy and Georgette, you know, Dominican style, and I don't object to that. I actually like some of the Troy and Georgette style. Um, my thing is like, but don't limit your style. Don't think that that's the only Dominican style out here. There's other different styles out there, and just learn and and just learn and respect the dance, the history of the dance and the culture, and there's been in the past there was a lot of resistance towards the traditional style, like people who were ignorant. I remember in the clubs, like I would try to do the Dominican style, and some women would say, "Oh, you're not dancing bachata," and I was like, "Oh, are you serious?" Like, it's because that all they know is that urban style. So it's important to learn that traditional style and to respect it. Because the criticism from the Dominican dancers is that, oh, they would kind of even make fun of the urban style, and they say, oh, you're not dancing bachata, you're dancing patata. It's like funny though, but yeah, there was a lot of criticisms from, like, hey, that's not bachata, that's not real. And and I kind of criticized the urban styles too, because I like some of these contests out here. Like I remember, like people would have bachata contests right out here. I remember being out here, early on, like some of the earliest bachata competitions out here. I remember it would they started some out here in where is it, in where the Santa Monica Third Street Promenade was. There was this restaurant. I'm trying to remember that restaurant. It's been a while, but they had a competition there, and I was just watching the competition and say, okay, how are these people competing? What kind of performances are they doing with bachata? So when I saw them dancing bachata, I'm like, I didn't even see hardly any urban style. You didn't see no Dominican style, definitely. You hardly saw any urban style. All you saw was like, it looked like modern dance to me. And I was like, oh man, seriously? They're trying to say, because the competitions kind of set the standard of what bachata is, right? And when you see when you saw these competitions, they're like triple spinning and all this stuff and throwing people in the air and doing all this cheerleading type moves. And my criticism is like, hey man, that's not bachata, man. What the heck is that? Like, it looks like salsa, man, or it looks like even like modern dance. And that's it's kind of like my criticism of even like with Dancing with the Stars. It's like sometimes they say, "Oh, we're dancing the cha cha cha," or we're dancing the you know, we're like, if you look at Dancing with the Stars, everyone they look like they're all the same dances. They look all like modern dancers, like modern dance. You know, it's just a lot of posing and it you look at the styles, and like when I look at cha cha cha, because I'm a cha 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 dancer as well. When I see that on Dancing with the Stars, I don't see much cha 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 there. I see a bunch of like fancy moves, cheerleading moves. I call them cheerleading when they're doing all these. They throw people in the air or all these. I don't know. That's what I call it, right? um, and you don't see a lot of the fundamentals of cha 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 in that dance, right? When you see it on Dancing with the Stars, the same goes with all these other dances that you see on there. Like they all look the same, and that's even problematic. Even with my criticism, of even ballroom. I discovered a lot of ballroom like it's a lot of watered down of dances. Like like you see the original styles and like they look nothing like how they're performing on with Dancing with the Stars. And don't get me wrong, Dancing with the Stars, these people are talented, right? But when you say you're gonna dance cha cha cha, or you're gonna dance the samba, or you're gonna dance like a particular style, make sure you have that style that it's really apparent that you see it there. Like don't make your dance look like, oh, it looks mostly like ballet or modern dance or something, or some acrobats. I think that's part of the problem with some of the choreography out here in this Dancing with the Stars like performances. The same thing is happening with a lot of these competitions out here, especially the bachata competitions. Like when you see them, they're doing like a lot of ballet and a bunch of spins and a lot of salsa patterns, and it's gotten so bad that it's like it reminds me is with Dancing with the Stars. Like it doesn't even look like urban bachata anymore, right? There's obviously no Dominican style there. The closest I've seen is somebody doing Dominican style is they just did a few triple steps and that was it. I'm like, oh, that's it, right? That's all the Dominican style you're gonna put in there. And obviously, I don't see any bachata traditional competitions out here either. You know, I know Rodolfo Montaño in the Dominican Republic, they had a lot of traditional Dominican style competitions. And I think Los Angeles needs to start doing that, you know. But yeah, it's just we Los Angeles needs to, when it comes to the bachata scene, they definitely need to learn the roots and and really respect the culture, and a lot of times right now people are getting into what's called the central. Actually there was urban style, right, hitting the scene, right? Everyone was doing that, and then you kind of had like what was called bachatango, and I actually did some of that, and I don't actually, it's not that bad, but actually, I think the traditional style came first, though. People were getting more into the traditional style, but then people were starting to do bachatango, and I guess it got popular at one time on YouTube. They're mixing tango with bachata, and but that kind of like didn't last too long, and but you did see some people that danced, and very few though. But what got really popular is the sensual style, and a lot of people. What happened is they started doing these sensual moves, you know, and they started incorporating it into bachata, and and some Dominican style, like some dancers say, well, Dominican style has always been sensual, but the difference though is that in Los Angeles, when people danced the whole sensual style, they were actually trying to combine zouk, Brazilian zouk, and a lot of their moves, they're trying to combine it with bachata, and this is where they try saying this is sensual style. And a lot of the sensual style involves the head rolls and body waves and stuff like that. Now, I'm not, as much critical. I think, see, the central style, it's gotten popular, and I actually do central style as well. I do actually all these styles: urban style, traditional style, central style, even bachatango. But the central style, um, it's like they have their own community as well. And I discovered Zouk actually came from Lambada, where they dance all close, and they do a lot of the body waves and everything. um, but even that, like, that's kind of like, there's some people, that there's a community that does that. The only thing is, like, a lot of times the women, like, they, people need to master the body waves, the body rolls, the chest rolls, and all this stuff. And but there's some really good sensual style dancers out there, and it's popular out here. Um, but my thing is, again, like, a lot of these sensual style dancers, they don't know traditional style, they don't know the Dominican style. And I think what happens is these communities get very divided, and I think if you really want to respect the culture, bachata, the dance, you should definitely know some traditional style. Whether you're a traditional style purist or you like to mix it up, at least incorporate that into your social dance. So we need to see more of this Dominican style out here. And I actually think that, you know, some of the central style, because I mix it up. When I'm out there in the central dance community, you see me doing different stuff. And it's not just, oh, early on, like, central style was like, we started doing that even, like, back in the urban style days, where that was the only one out here in LA. People would wedge, and they would get close, and they would do a lot of the body type, move rhythm, like, kind of like the body waves and stuff like that. And this was before people started putting the hand on the shoulder, and doing ducking under, and a lot of that head roll stuff came from Zouk. You know, back in the urban days, we didn't do a lot of that stuff. But then they started merging Zouk with bachata, and they called it central style. But the way I am is, I'm not so critical about that. I mean, a central style, it has its place. It's fun to dance. um, and it's a lot of innovators in that scene. But I do think that people need to learn the traditional style. Definitely learn that Dominican style, man. And and some people are purists. I'm not a purist. I was like, okay, mix it up, make your style look unique, and fun. It's like, um, even like Troy and Georgette, like, you would think that they're purist Dominican style, but I seen them doing arm patterns. Usually in Dominican style, you don't do a lot of arm patterns, right? So I seen them. They've incorporated arm patterns, so they've been influenced by the urban style. Urban style has influenced a lot of the bachata dance scene out here and globally. It's become even popular in New York. So I've been in New York, and you see some people who do Dominican style, but you're starting to see a lot of urban style out there too as well. So, and I would actually think that Los Angeles is the bedrock, like the birthing place of a lot of the urban style bachata out here. So usually we have both East Coast and West Coast. We're all basically creators in a lot of the dance scenes out here. And out here in the West Coast, yeah, we're responsible for a lot of the urban style bachata out here because we mix the LA style salsa into that, and out here, a lot of us, even contributed to the whole central style where they were merging the zouk with the urban style bachata out here. So now you have that. And dances are always changing, innovating. But I think what's important is to keep at least some traditional style in there, go learn the box step, man. Definitely. The box step is very important, especially in the Dominican style. In the Dominican Republic, there's times where people just do nothing but the box step, and they do different variations of the box step. They style it up. They do different rhythms with it. Um, but yeah, there's so much like that you can actually learn, and incorporate in your dance. And even I like the Dominican style because you can even have some, it's actually influenced by merengue and bolero and the cha cha cha. So you can even put. I'm a cha 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 dancer as well, and you can put some cha 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 in there. That's your triple steps right there. When I say triple step and all that, that comes from the cha cha cha. And if you see competitions by by Rodolfo Montano, he's on video. He's doing a cha cha cha. He's doing the cha 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 basic, right? He's going forward and back. He's going forward and back with the cha cha cha. He's doing the side to side with the cha cha cha. He's traveling around with the cha cha cha. So that's the cha 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 influence right there. He also has the bolero. He actually has a good video on the evolution of bachata dance. You go check it out, and he he talks about even the bolero having that influence there. A lot of the bolero is like the box steps and the cross steps, traveling, right? Obviously, in the clubs, you can't really do that when it's packed, right? You might have to like take smaller steps, be aware of your surroundings. But definitely. But yeah, it's just bachata is very interesting. It's out here in Los Angeles. It's it has its fads and its styles. It went from urban style to Dominican style to like bachatango, and now you got the central style right now. And it's I'm glad that the traditional Los Angeles traditional festivals, bachata um, traditional festivals are actually they exist now, and now maybe people will start getting into it, and start being more open minded, you know. Anyways, well, it's they and out here like where do you go if you're actually looking to dance bachata? What clubs do you go to? You Steven Steakhouse is pretty good on Sundays. Go check them out on Sundays. They actually have a new dance floor, so you might want to go check them out. And like I said, Demetrio, he teaches there. He teaches some urban style and Dominican style, And yeah, a lot of Dominican style is based on Troy and Georgette. And I think it was also influenced too. Like I know is Bachata Caliente. That's like a team that was started by I think Leslie Ferreira and what's his name? Uh, Jorge. Yeah, that's his name. Um, and I remember them. They used to show. Leslie used to teach at Mama Juana's out here in the San Fernando Valley. So I used to learn a lot from Bachata Caliente. You know, they're at that time they were more urban style. It was more urban style, and I didn't see Dominican style back then. And what was his name? Carlos. this guy named Carlos. I forgot his last name. He became like a hit on YouTube for bachata, right? I just forgot his last name, but he became famous at that time, and he eventually started learning Dominican style, and I think he never switched. He never went back. I'm not too sure if he's still doing the urban style anymore, but he emphasized now the Dominican style because what happened, it was a big trend in bachata, especially on the online community. Like people were saying, "Oh, that's not bachata." They were saying the urban style is not bachata. That's not bachata. Like they were saying the original styles are, the Dominican traditional styles. And so I think he was kind of influenced by that, where he had to learn the traditional styles, and I think he stuck with that. And I think he still does workshops and everything, teaches people about musicality and stuff. Um, but my experience with bachata caliente is like, yeah, I used to take lessons with Leslie, and she had urban. It was more like urban style. Some of her moves and patterns were a little different, so every instructor has their different moves and patterns. Just like me, I have like different stuff, like you know, and so I would go to a dance studio out there in East LA. I even forgot the name of it, but she used to teach there as well. Um, I actually met her, and used to, I used to take those classes there, and yeah, it's just there's bachata caliente. Actually, they started, I think, probably even the first Los Angeles bachata festivals out here, and it was more like urban style. And then you had what's his name? Shoot, it's like trying to name drop out here, and you just forget sometimes names. Ataka, yeah, Ataka was popular too. Aliman and Ataka, they're still popular. They're more like urban style. I don't see them really doing a lot of Dominican style. So and so there was actually two famous people at that time. You had Troy Georgette and Ataka Alemana. Two different styles. And I think the Ataka and them, they formed some groups out here called Island Touch out here in Los Angeles. I actually had friends who were part of that um, dance team. But and Ataka Alemana, they had some different moves too. I actually have some of their DVDs too, and soak those up too. Um, but yeah, it's just you had that going on that was popular. But yeah, Steven Steakhouse, like if you go there, you're definitely gonna learn urban style and some Troy and Georgette, kind of like style, Dominican style. Um, there's people that dance there. Um, and then DJ Kenny, he does him and his girlfriend Vanessa. She teaches. I think it's kind of like more like the Troy and Georgette's Dominican style, and they have a traditional style dance night. You have to find them. I forgot where exactly they have their um, bachata traditional events. But just look them up. You can even look him up, DJ Kenny. But yeah, definitely, it's good that the bachata scene is changing, and people are getting into the traditional style. The thing is, they're only getting into the Troy and Georgette style. I think they need to learn more different styles, especially the Rodolfo Montano style. That's why I tell people, hey, come to my classes and you'll learn that style. You'll be doing the cross steps, the box steps. You'll be traveling around more and this and that. You'll look even smooth doing this stuff. Um, and I put different stuff in there. And sometimes, yeah, I'll put some Troy and Georgette footwork, um, and just different things into it. So, anyways, I guess I'm gonna end it here. But if you guys want to join my classes, I teach bachata, different styles. Like I said, I teach urban style, traditional style, and the central style, even bachatango as well. So you can go down to my details below and contact me on my Instagram. Check out my schedule. I teach out here in the San Fernando Valley. I teach dance group lessons and private lessons. And you can go to my website too and check it out. See, just to stay updated. I'm mostly out here in the San Fernando Valley, and definitely. Anyways, yeah, come on out. And if you want to join my classes, message me, hit me up on Instagram, send me a message, add me there. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like the video, make some positive comments, and remember, true bachateros learn the traditional style. That's all I gotta say. um, go learn that, man. Come take my classes. Learn that style, man. Because you know, as a lot of the Dominican style or the East Coast people say, basically don't fake the funk. Don't call yourself a bachatero if you don't know traditional style, right? So definitely learn the original styles, the traditional styles, respect the culture, right? And enjoy the music, enjoy the dance. All right. Well, I'm going to let you guys go. You guys have a good day and take care. See you later.